Everybody gone soca now. Run up and do what you saying to yourself. You know here.
Good morning, my friends. It's Cubcam TV. How are we doing this morning?
To drink and run. Call the party while I'm here minding my business.
Going to kick off with something very lively indeed from Ding Dong and Mr. Killer. This one, Run Up and Down, a good way to kick us off, I feel. That's what I'm talking about. What a show we've got on the way. I'll tell you all about it in just a second.
Stand up in front of you, but if you know you don't give no clothes, I borrow nobody show. I tell you to run up and do, 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 run up and do. Mr. Officer, I ain't no thief, I ain't no robber. I'm here to wine and girls, I'm just a party sheller. Hey boy, hands in the air, wave your flag like an umbrella. I run up in a this like say, are you near Mr. Killer? Hey boy, what's that on your waist? Again, what's that on your waist? Again, what's that on your waist? What's that on your waist? Run up and do, 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 run up and do.
Came across this one the other day from Ding Dong and Mr. Killer, and I thought, you know what a wicked tune to start a show off with. Super lively vibes. Had loads of updates yesterday, software-wise, and bits like that. Woke up this morning, everything's out of whack, nothing's working. Still managed to start on time though, so that's good news. How are we doing this morning, my friends? We are live on Cubcam TV. As I said, that one there coming from Ding Dong and Mr. Killer. What a good way to wake us all up, I feel. That was a good way to start the show off. What a show we have on the way as well. We're going to be looking very much into Brighton's underground over the course of the next hour and a half. We're going to be doing some news, of course. Going to be looking into some bangers. There's a couple of people who've dropped some very cool new music that we're going to be getting into. But we're also going to be talking to two very special guests. Those guests being Marman, who will be joining us from 10:30 through till 11. We're going to be looking at his brand new It's Not a Trick EP. A few tracks off there, get a bit of background on him as well, and sort of Brighton's hip-hop scene in general, which is going to be quite enjoyable to look into. And then following that, we're going to be talking to Shelly Hands, who's going to be on the line discussing Beach Gang Records. Now, I've spoken to Hannah before over on the show on Trickstar, which is the normal way we would be doing breakfast, but obviously for the time being, we are unable to get into the studio, so we're running this as a kind of temporary way of carrying on the show, you know? I mean, I want to make sure the show is carrying on, and I want to make sure we're doing as much as we possibly can to keep things up and running. So there we go. But yeah, we're going to be talking to Hannah at 11, looking through their new releases, how they're going to be running as a label, their structure, and just what she's been up to in general. I like to talk to Brighton people, Hannah being one of the real people that inspired me when I was younger to kind of crack on and get some work done. And yeah, it should be good. It should be an enjoyable show. I'm looking forward to it. This is definitely one for more Brighton heads, I feel. We're going to be looking into a lot more of the specifics of what goes on around here. But you know what? Even if you're not from Brighton, this is a show you can definitely lock into and take in a little chunk of that sort of Brighton culture. And there we go. We can expand what we do to the world. And also, of course, we do have loads of good music on the way. So we're going to be jumping into a brand new single from Baklava in just a second, which has floated around the ether and made its way into this morning's playlist, which I am really, really looking forward to. Baklava, of course, Brighton-based singer and DJ. She's a resident at Patton, so she's been playing there for a long period of time now. Very often as well, being like basically lead support a lot of the time and always putting down amazing sets. What she does that makes her kind of unique is when she's performing, she's actually singing at the same time, so she's DJing and singing, doing a lot of like live vocals and live hooks over the sort of mix and blend that she's involved in, and it tends to work really, really well for kind of getting a crowd in a mood for a dance, because it has that connection, you know. I've got a real thing about raves that don't have MCs, especially if you're working in more sort of raucous sort of dance music areas such as like garage or a D&B or a grime or a dubstep, I feel you need an MC. That's your point of contact between you and the crowd. So when you actually upgrade that sort of that style of MCing, so you're actually hosting but while singing along to the tunes whilst you're mixing, I think it's just a really, really cool spectacle to kind of look at. So we're going to be looking at her brand new single, which did drop yesterday, in just a second. News-wise, we're going to be looking at a few things. We are going to be looking into we're going to be looking into this Bandcamp more fee waiving days news. So there's going to be more waiving of fees on Bandcamp. So there's going to be a load of people putting up specialist projects. We're going to be looking into that and how that's going to work. We are also going to be looking into the very sad news about Lakota, which I did see popping up across the timeline yesterday. Any sort of Bristol heads will know this is some really tragic news, but I want to make sure we are letting people know about this, because post-lockdown, I'm sure lots of people were planning on getting together for big-style raves and big-style parties, but this unfortunately does mean that one of the biggest places in Bristol to do that is going to be no more. So we're going to look into that in just a second. For now, though, let's get into this brand new single from Baklava. This one going by the name of Take Time. Wicked tune, this one. It's Cubcam TV. We're live in the building till 10:30, so don't go anywhere.
Show me what I could be missing. You can show me off and take me home. Leave tonight and stay tomorrow till the weekend. But you caught me off guard with my hands behind my back. Don't know where I'm going, but I refuse to lose track. Said you wanna take it slow, no harm in that. Why don't we just take time, yeah. Tell me that you're mine, yeah. I promise that you love me, cause I'm worth it. So won't you come a little closer, let's get together. Take time, yeah. I just want you for myself, for ya. Call me crazy, I need help, for ya. Pick me up, I'm feeling lonely. You're acting like you don't know me. Baby, let's play pretender. Turn the lights off, no one has to know what we do when we're alone. Let's keep it secret. There's no telling where.
Out to all the new listeners this morning. That's what I'm loving about this show. We're getting new listeners every day, new people joining us on the channel. Please do hit that subscribe button. We're in a race to 200 subs. If you can get there before the weekend, we will release new music on Friday. So go on, do us a favour. Hit that subscribe button.
No harm in that. Why don't we just take time, yeah. Tell me that you're mine, yeah. I promise that you love me, cause I'm worth it. So won't you come a little closer, let's get together. Take time, yeah. I just want you for myself, for ya. Call me crazy, I need help, for ya. Pick me up, I'm feeling lonely. You're acting like you don't know me. Baby, let's play pretender. Why don't we just take time, yeah. Tell me that you're mine, yeah. I promise that you love me, cause I'm worth it. So won't you come a little closer, let's get together. Take time, yeah.
Fabulous flavours on this one from Baklava, of course. This is somewhat of a Brighton special of a show, so we are going to be looking into making sure we're promoting as many Brighton-based producers and artists in general as possible throughout the course of the show. We've got loads of new music to play. I'm really looking forward to getting into the music that's been sent over by our two guests as well. Should be a really enjoyable one, man. I'm looking forward to the process. Out to everyone locked in so far, as I was saying during the tune, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. Do share the link around. Let's get as many people into the chat as possible. Let's have a good chat. Let's have a good time this this morning. You know what I mean? Let's have a bit of a thing. If you are locked in, do leave a little message in the live box. Any questions about the show or anything you'd like us to discuss, any news articles that you've seen floating around that you think might be interesting to open up a topic of discussion about, please do let us know, and we can do that. You know what I mean? We're a very, very adaptable platform here at Cubcam TV. But yeah, as I was saying, we're nearly at 200 subscribers. I'm really, really keen to actually hit that 200 subscriber mark so we can get new music out there tomorrow, and then we can start working towards 300. I think actually the growth of the channel is it's in a good place. I'm actually genuinely very happy with the growth of the channel so far. Obviously, we've seen it grow from around 40 subs at the start of lockdown. We're now nearly 200, so it's a pretty strong growth rate, with which I'm really, really happy. So thank you to everyone who has taken part in helping the channel grow and side promoting it as well. So there we go. Let's move on to a bit of news then. A sad bit of news this morning. We're going to kick off the show with, despite the fact we've had such a lively introduction to proceedings. We're going to be looking at this. It comes from the Bristol Live, the Bristol Post. Legendary Bristol nightclub Lakota will close to make way for flats and offices. It's always flats and offices. It's never anything. Well, I can't say flats and offices aren't good things because they clearly are. But why can't they get rid of something else? One of Bristol's most famous nightclubs will be turned into offices and flats. It was confirmed yesterday. Lakota has been a staple of the city's famed nightlife scene for decades, but will now make way for a mixed-use development, including 54 residential dwellings. The decision, which comes as a huge blow to Bristol's embattled nightlife scene, was made by Bristol City Council's Development Control Committee yesterday via a Zoom call. How is that? That's no way for Lakota to go out via a Zoom call. Oh, man. It's just upsetting. It'll also see the closure of the Coroner's Court and Stokes Croft Beer Garden as well. So it's not just one thing. They're pretty much just ripping Stokes Croft apart, which is realistically one of the most legendary clubbing districts in Europe. Like, there's no two ways about it. This area of Bristol is so embedded in kind of underground dance music culture that it's genuinely a real shame to see it go. And it's upsetting. And I think it's going to be upsetting for not just people of Bristol. It's going to be upsetting for people around the country, because this was like a haven people could head to. It was like an area of the country where they knew. How many times have you heard people say the line, "Oh, I need to get down to Bristol. Oh, I went to Bristol. It was sick. I love Bristol." Da 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 da. And it's because of this area. That's the thing, and that's what makes it so frustrating. That we aren't going to have this area again. It's going to go. There's no way it'll ever get turned back into a club. Like, there's just no way. And the fact they're putting new flats up in the middle of Stokes Croft, means they're going to start getting noise complaints, which means other things are going to start to close. And it's just extremely frustrating when I'm sure there are like hundreds of other places they could start building flats. It's just incredibly frustrating, and it's just it carves up culture and it carves up nightlife, and it's just a really sad thing to see. Let's have a little look for a bit of history. In the 90s, Stokes Croft was seen as the most famous clubs in the world, one of the most famous, welcoming many of the world's biggest DJs. It's still held in high regard today, loved for its dingy nature, pounding system, and impressive lineups. But the owners of the Burgess family released a statement in October 2018 expressing their intentions to call it a day, confirming it could become an accommodation and business space. Its future was initially to be decided on March 18th, but it was postponed due to the current scenario. What's it going to be? What's it going to become? The scheme, which has been submitted on behalf of the Old Bottle Works, includes 54 residential dwellings spread across the site. A new 4-story block accommodation will be built next to 6 Upper York Street. The applicants say they intend to keep the ground floor of the Upper York Street building, which is where Lakota is based, for business use, but it's currently unclear what will be happening there specifically. What is it? 42 one-bedroom studio flats, 11 two-bedroom flats, and 1 3-bedroom flat. 76 bicycle stands. I don't really care what it's going to be. It's not going to be what it should be, which is Lakota, this legendary venue, this incredible kind of hub of dance music culture within the city, and it's just incredibly frustrating. And I want to really send condolences to the people of Bristol. It's a really sad thing to happen, and I'm genuinely sad to see it go. I've played at Lakota myself. It was an amazing experience. Just walking around the club, the fact they had so many different rooms going on, it's just frustrating and it's upsetting. But there we go. However, we do have some good news to change things up and switch things around. I believe, if my assumptions are correct and I'm reading the chat correctly, we have hit 200 subs. I'm so happy. We've done it. 202 subscribers. Thank you to everyone involved in the chat this morning. You have made my day, and you have confirmed that new music will be coming out tomorrow. So I tell you what, it's a grind getting YouTube subs. I didn't realise how much of a grind it will be, but we have got there. We've got to 200 subs within 6.5 weeks of doing this show. So I want to say a massive thank you to everyone in the chat today, and a massive thank you to everyone who has been involved in the channel so far. That's an amazing thing to happen. I'm chuffed. Thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you. Let's switch up the vibes then. Let's get into some more new music. Let's flip this around. Let's play some good vibes music. This one coming from Jalifa and Luton Fire. This one is Ganja Banquet. Fresh reggae music here on Cubcam TV. You know how we do. We keep it fresh. We keep it lively. Out to my locked-in crew this morning. Thank you to Modernist Humour for hitting that subscribe button, and the other two that have subscribed this morning. I see you. I see there's 3 new subs this morning. So I'm out to you two as well. Leave a little message in the chat box and let us know how you're feeling. If you're enjoying the channel, any ideas you think we can have. By the way, we are starting reaction videos soon. So there we go. There's going to be loads of stuff on the way. Let's get into this one then. It's Cubcam TV. It's Brekky In The Cave. We're live until 11:30.
I would say marijuana in the Rasta man bucket. Not the marijuana and get high. See me fly. Oh yeah. For this plant is war. All over war. Legalization war. For that good boom jar. I mean, welcome, I've got a banquet today, and we're serving strictly ital herbs. Natural and organical, we're sipping pots, that's the A. Slowly supping on that ital herbs. Feel it cross my physical, celebrating every day. Rastaman I chant, I herbs. Hey, what's on the menu? Natty jail, nothing but a bucket of herbs. Ooh yeah. Smoke weed and get high, get chubby. Blaze up the country. Try to pull a hash, me a ras, me not, me a pass it, fluff me a hash and study like the next thing they done roll already. Big fast fluff me a like not spaghetti tense, fluff and me green calabash, I grade and a grass up and a pass that solid tight. I'll sing them, me don't born ready like ready for the medi fire pass to your belly in from and I'm a ras and a axe when feds them a axe about grass, them a point out jelly. Me no dash my split, if me no nobody. Study up this me no worry, me no high grades, body marijuana me a back when it's high grade, me a back so loot and fire got a banquet today. Rastaman a chant, I herbs. Hey, what's on the menu? Natty jail, nothing but a bucket of herbs. In a sea, welcome, I've got a banquet today, and we're serving strictly ital herbs. Natural and organical, we're sipping pots, that's the A. Slowly subbing on that ital herbs. Feel it cross my physical. Pass the chalice in a circle. Make a body till it goes to get purple. We don't compromise, I will advertise. I'm sure or not, but I'm certain. It's a medicine and it can't hurt you. Get still, Babylon won't hurt you. They stash it before them search it. Jalifa, them no really concern you. Them want lock up the rest. We a little bit of weed and it pass. I want it in a church too. See the judge and the lawyer, police and the doctor, the nurse. Every up in our verse too. Big dance are keeping at the circle. Jalifa live in concert too. We can't done, me sure we can serve you. Hey, rub on that. Well, I've got a banquet today, and we're serving strictly ital herbs. Natural and organical, we're sipping pots, that's the A. Slowly subbing on that ital herbs. Feel it cross my physical, celebrating every day. Rastaman I chant, I herbs. Hey, what's on the menu? Natty jail, nothing but a bucket of herbs. Ooh yeah. For this plant is war. All over war. Legalization war. For that good boom jar. I mean, welcome, I've got a banquet today, and we're serving strictly ital herbs. Natural and organical, we're sipping pots, that's the A. Slowly subbing on that.
Wicked flavours on this one. Fresh reggae music here on Cubcam TV. You know we stay up to date. You know we know what's going on. This one coming from Jalifa and Luton Fire. Really, really cool flavours on this one. Let's let this one run out and then we'll crack on. Good stuff, good stuff. Right then, out to all the locked-in crew this morning. If you are locked in this morning, please do send us a signal in the chat box, and we can have a conversation. Let's open things up. In around 10 minutes, we're going to be joined by a man like Marman, who's going to be jumping on the phone to talk through his brand new EP and what's been going on there. Let's have another little look through the news selections then. Let's have a look at the Good News live blog. For those that aren't aware, over on Mixmag, they've put together a Good News live blog, which is regularly updating us on different good things that are happening around the UK in regards to the UK scene's response as a music scene to the current scenario we find ourselves in. But it hasn't been updated in 2 days, and it's really starting to grind my gears. So let's have a look at this. KFC are revealing which branches have now reopened around the country. So let's have a little look around. Let's have a look. So Heaton Chapel, Tamsworth is opened. New Oscott, never seen the word written down. Who knows? Manchester Holme, Manchester Deansgate, Portsmouth. Is there only one KFC in the whole of Portsmouth? Aldershot, Ipswich, Cardinal Park, Glasgow, Pollock Hall Road, Glasgow, Great Western Retail Park. Why is the one in the retail park open? That's not good. Enfield, Coliseum Retail Park, the one in Bury, the Bentley Bridge, the Great Bridge, Romford Gallows, Tyburn, Norwich, Brighton. The Western Road KFC is back open. That's what I was looking for. Any other significant ones on here? Oh, it doesn't really matter. We're only looking for the Brighton one, really, weren't we? The Brighton KFC is back open. What have KFC got to say about things? It's reopened some branches for delivery only, and the fast food chain has now revealed its plans to reopen many more by next week and announced its list of branches which are already open. You can check that out online if you are interested and don't live in Brighton. I mean, we're all going to the Western Road one for delivery. Doesn't really matter where you're coming from delivery, apart from maybe like 5-10 minutes in transition. It's KFC anyway, so it doesn't age particularly nicely when you get delivery regardless. But yeah, after closing all of its restaurants on March the 23rd due to coronavirus, KFC reopened its 11 stores in the UK on April the 16th, which has expanded to 42 since then. But the company has unveiled its plans to have 100 stores open by May the 4th. May it be with you. KFC's UK Managing Director, Paula McKenzie, said, "The next stage allows us to continue to provide wider access to hot food for those who need it most, whether it be key workers after a long shift or those working from home who need a quick, affordable dinner for the family. I'm hugely appreciative of our team members who have returned to work. It's a challenging time for everyone, but we're so glad to play our part in helping feed the nation." And make a bit of money on the side while you're doing it. But there we go. It's a proper backhand compliment there. Fair play. If they're observing social distancing rules and still only doing it delivery so people can't sit into the store, I can't see that much wrong with it, if I'm being completely honest with you. I may just be being a little bit being a little bit difficult this morning. But there we go. Out to all my locked-in crew this morning. I'm going to try and keep you updated as possible. I've got to say, I had a pretty productive day in regards to looking at who's going to be joining us on the show over the next few weeks. And we've got some incredible people joining us, I've got to say. Some of the listings and some of the guests we've managed to wangle in for these two-parter shows, it's looking very special indeed. So make sure you do hit that subscribe button, because you're not going to want to miss what comes up. If you're interested in garage, dubstep, if you're interested in grime, if you're interested in bass music in general, we've pretty much got the whole sort of underground electronic dance music scene covered here on the show over the course of the next realistically over the course of the next 4 weeks, because I don't think lockdown is actually going to be stopping anytime soon specifically. So I think we are going to be carrying on in this scenario for a while, and going from there. Out to Shaquille Miller. Good morning, sir. I hope you are all good and joining us this morning. Thank you for leaving a little message there. But yeah, I'm getting a lot of messages in on private things saying they're genuinely gutted about the closure of legendary Bristol club Lakota. I am disappointed, man. I think, you know what it is? I think it's because it's one of the places outside of Brighton that I've played and really, really enjoyed. It hits home a little bit harder, you know what I mean? I think it's a sad thing, and it's something realistically as a fan base of dance music culture, of a fan base of club culture, which I'm sure all of us are, as a fan base of essentially underground culture here in the UK, it's something we do have to stand up and shout about, because otherwise it will just keep happening. There's been the classic sort of route that I keep seeing about this sort of scenario is what people will do is they'll move in, flats will get built in a clubbing district, and then people will then move into those flats and complain about the noise of the clubbing district, despite the fact they've moved into a house that's in a clubbing district and paid specifically less, not specifically less, maybe specific, I don't know the word. Significantly, that's the word I'm looking for. Significantly less for these for this sort of rent for these rented essentially party houses. Then they start to complain about the fact that it's noisy, despite the fact they've moved into a noisy area, knowing they're moving into a noisy area, and then they seem to be surprised when it's noisy, and then they'll complain, and then other clubs start to lose their license because they're affecting residential areas, and it's so frustrating because they know exactly what they're doing. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's just very annoying. So I think as a group, I think a group of people and as a fan base, I think we really do need to kind of constantly shout about it, be it on social media, be it in person. But we do need to make sure as a movement of people, we do need to make sure that we are literally shouting at the people who are doing stupidity. Out to the Jack. Apparently it is. But yeah, I've read about 6 different articles this morning saying it is closing. Planning permissions granted, but owners got the last say, I'm pretty sure. Yes, you are correct on that, but apparently they've been looking to sell for 2 years and the deal was agreed yesterday. That's what I've seen. I may be wrong. I may be reading a made-up article, but from what I've seen 3 different articles now all pointing towards the fact that it will be closing. So I'll post the article in the chat in just a second, just to make sure. I may be missing something, but I've seen a lot of people talking about it as well, but I may be wrong. Who knows? Hopefully I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, that will have made my day. But there we go. Let's have a look at another banger we can run this morning then, shall we? There's going to be some, I'm sure there's going to be some good bits to look into. What should we have a look at? So there's new... looking through my listing this morning, I'm pretty sure there's new Telemakers which popped up yesterday, which I'm really keen to get into because I'm a big fan of Telemakers, and I got this sent through yesterday on promo from the High Focus crew. Out to the High Focus crew, of course, always putting together some really interesting music. This is a brand new release from them, which is on the way, I believe, going by the name of Greed from Telemakers, featuring Jerome Thomas. Really cool, smooth, unusual vibes on this one, really playing on that sort of jazzy influence that goes into a lot of UK hip-hop these days. And yeah, it's just a really cool tune, to be honest with you. We're going to get into it in just a second, and then we're going to jump on the phone with man like a Marman. Again, looking into Brighton-based hip-hop, and obviously High Focus being originally a Brighton-based collective, I think this was actually quite a good one to start us off with. So there we go. Let's crack on with this. Don't go anywhere, guys. We are live on Cubcam TV. Thank you to everyone for joining us this morning. It's been a very enjoyable show so far, and I know it's going to continue to be so. So yeah, there we go. Don't go anywhere. It's Cubcam TV, live in the building from 10 till 11:30. It's Brekky In The Cave and myself, Kovu, at Cub KXVU on all social media platforms. Hit the subscribe button and hit a like as well. I see you floating. I see the people in the video floating. Just hit the like button. Do us a favour. Tune this one from Telemakers. This one is Greed featuring Jerome Thomas. Really showcasing exactly what High Focus are all about these days. there, my friends. We are live on Cubcam TV. Out to my locked-in crew this morning. We're going to be jumping into our first guest interview now. Man like Marman joins us on the line. How are you doing this morning, sir? You all good?
Yo, I'm all good. How you doing, man?
I'm good. You know, I think I'm very much getting into a routine now. I feel. I saw a tweet yesterday saying this new scenario is starting to feel like normality, which is a little bit scary, but I feel that's the general consensus. Let's crack on to begin with. Like, how are you finding lockdown personally? Like, is it something that's changed your life much?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'm a person, I love being outdoors, man, just doing things, getting away from the home. But I'm adapting, you know, it's all good. Just trying to stay creative, keep busy, stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's all right. It's not as bad, actually.
Definitely, man. I think we're seeing a lot of people kind of move into a reign now where they are sort of managing to adapt their creativity to the their current situation. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people now, for instance, like this show, like doing stuff from home. I'm seeing a lot of people like getting hold of temporary recording equipment, rappers primarily, like getting hold of methods in which they can carry on making music without it necessarily being having to go to a studio setting to do it, which is good to see. So yeah, we've got loads of stuff to talk about today. Obviously, it's a bit of a Brighton special going on today, and I've been looking forward to this one, obviously, as a Brighton flag flyer through and through. We're here to talk about the new project and your kind of how you've put that together, what the plans are for the future. But primarily, before we start, I want to get into a bit of background about yourself. So, for those that aren't aware, who is Marman?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm just Brighton-based rapper and producer. Just starting out, really. Yeah, I grew up in Brighton all my life. This is my first sort of project, which I'm sort of throwing out to the world to be made more available. It's called Must Be a Trick. It's out on the 22nd of May everywhere. And it's yeah, man, it's just my take on a couple things, like the tunes I've been making over the past year or so, and like these are what I've narrowed it down to. And yeah, man, just excited to be a part of it.
Wicked,
anyway,
man.
I can, really.
Sick, man. So, like, when you were, like, obviously, you said you're Brighton through and through. Like, Brighton's hip hop scene is something I find genuinely quite interesting to kind of observe, because it's got such it's got such a kind of like historical rooting within UK hip hop in general. Obviously, with High Focus being kind of birthed here, we've also got all these other. We've got Rumbustious down here. We've got obviously Frankie Stew and Harvey Gunner down here. We've got a lot of very solid kind of hip hop influences throughout the city. Like, when you first started, who were the people that were really kind of influencing you to kind of crack on and go, look, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, it would be, I guess, back when I started producing and rapping and stuff, I was into all the High Focus and everything like that, and some of the artists on there. And yeah, man, Brighton has a strong scene, man. It's like deep rooted in far as UK hip hop. Was into, yeah, loads of people. I like Ransom, Bad Bones, like obviously like Flip Tricks and all of that. But like these days, I'm just like, I don't know, I just like what the whole city is doing at the moment. And there's loads of new artists doing their own thing and like stuff like that. I'm excited about the future, man. Just as a fan, hearing all of it, you know.
Definitely, man. I think from like an outside perspective, kind of looking into the sort of Brighton hip hop scene overall, it seems like there's a very much a kind of like mutual respect going on these days. Well, I remember a few years ago, it used to be a lot more kind of fragmented from what I remember, but it feels like now there's a bit more kind of unity going on.
Yeah, that's always nice to see in it. Community, you know, people move stronger in numbers, everyone coming together and stuff like that. So yeah, man, 100%.
Definitely, man. So like, let's kind of crack on then with, well, not crack on. Let's carry on with this kind of like roots into the sort of rap scenario. Like, how old were you when you first started actually making, like, sitting down and going, right, I'm making music today?
Probably around 14, 15, something like that. I've always had like a sort of creative elements of stuff I've been doing. I was into like breakdancing and stuff when I was a lot younger. Then I got into like doing like graffiti and stuff like that. And then I just sort of, once I started making music, I was like, no, this is the one. I just sort of found my sort of thing, which I wanted to carry on doing and stuff, especially as I wasn't so good in school and stuff like that. Just always finding a creative way to sort of let go and stuff like that. Just doing it for the love, really.
Nice, man. Like, I mean, that obviously that kind of thing of like not particularly not being like good in school, I think is the phrase that I'll say. I'm not too sure about it. Do you feel that kind of pushed you more into making music? Like when because obviously we see a lot of the time it was like people say it was like their release, it was their kind of like way of expressing themselves when they weren't necessarily kind of appreciated for who they were as much during school. Like, is that a similar scenario for yourself, or is it like a thing of you were doing both at the same time?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's a hard one to say, really. I'm dyslexic, so I struggled quite a lot of like the academic work of it, especially back then. Now I'm a lot better, but I was just sort of really disengaged, really. But yeah, just sort of once I started making music and just it was something I was actually passionate, actually wanted to do, actively spend my own time doing, and yeah, I just sort of carried on with it, and now I'm at a stage where I'm like, studying at uni and stuff, music production, and just loving it, really, keeping myself busy.
I mean, that's good to hear. Like, because obviously, I feel that sort of age bracket of kind of almost 13 through to 16 is when most people will kind of go, especially in more sort of hip hop kind of circles. That's the sort of age that people are. I don't want to say most impressionable, but that's the age where people kind of soak things up and go, I really like this. I want to pursue doing this. Because I remember in school that sort of age period. There was about 30 rappers in my year. There was about 30 rappers. And everyone was more, at the time it was more influenced by grime. But I feel UK hip hop during that more sort of period, I'd say when you were around sort of like 14 or so, would have been very much that sort of in sound, especially like in schools. Like when you were finding yourself listening to stuff, was it the kind of main thing that like the kind of year group were listening to, or was there like another sound that was also popping?
I don't know, it probably was other sounds that were popping. I've always just been into my own stuff. Like, back then I was listening to a lot of Mobb Deep and that sort of old, like, New York 90s sound in hip-hop. And as time moved on, I just sort of branched out a little bit, even outside of hip-hop and stuff. But, yeah, man, just anyone that's just got bars and got good production and stuff like that, it's just a vibe.
Definitely, man. It's and it's sick to see. I really like it when people, like, especially obviously having dyslexia, like when you're kind of like actually writing now. How do you actually write stuff down then? Do you write stuff onto computers? Do you use notes, or are you pen and padding it? Like, what's the general layout?
A bit of everything, really. At the moment, I'm loving the pen and pad. It's just good to like have it swiftly going like along the page. It's just nice. But yeah, a lot on my phone and stuff, especially if I'm like out and about. But yeah, man, I got bars everywhere, all around my room, scattered on every platform that I can be on.
I like it, man. I like it. Cool. Let's jump into the first tune then, because we're going to try and get through 3 tunes from the project. We've had a little look through the project, and we've seen some bangers on there. So the first one we're going to get into is a track entitled Frame. Like, talk me through how this one came together and the themes behind it.
Well, this one just came together. It's just my mate Ellis Plummer, he produced this one. And I just sort of saw visions in my head, and basically, like, lyrically, I guess it's about like stereotyping and how like you shouldn't be bothered about what stereotype people are putting you into or anything like that. But yeah, just sort of take what you want from it. Really, it's a nice chilled sort of instrumental and stuff. So yeah.
Nice stuff, man. That's what we like to hear. We like a bit of chilled out vibes this on the breakfast show. However, I did start today off with a soca tune, which I feel may have been a little bit misplaced. Now we've got into like nice mellow kind of sounds. But there we go. Right, don't go anywhere, guys. We're live on Cubcam TV. It's Brekky In The Cave. Man like Marman joins us on the phone. Oh yes.
Deep thoughts in my head, like ain't gonna let this slide. I got set back, got my head smacked. Now I gotta take my time. Spit that phlegm and I spray my rhyme. Hoods up now, cause it ain't that fine. Aim drinks down and I'm high on life. You'll just catch me riding by. Blowing smoke at the passenger side. Just make sure that you're strapping up right. You can have a good night if I pack it and pint, but still that's all that you buy. You slip on a slide. Snakes coming in from behind while I'm trying to lift to the sky. Just know that I'm fit for the fight, as long as the cause is right. How am I gonna pay for my lifetime? I can't tell. Fail to prepare, then prepare to fail. When these sex and drugs tell themselves, so everything else just sits on the shelf. Trying to do well, bring things to the world. This winter is cold. Slip on the snow, left prints on the road. Some things bigger than things that you know. Breathe for your lungs, just go with the flow. Running your mouth, you're overexposed. Man's gonna blow, I know that you won't. Actions do things worse, just don't. There's no such thing as perfect, bro. Stuck in a frame, better burn your clothes. Fuck being stuck, just keep on your toes. Quicksand out here deep, you go in a league on my own, just leave me alone. Feel like stuck in a frame. Try break that shit, that is something to change. They don't know what's under the paint. They just think you're one of the same. Don't see you as the one for the game, like nah. Feel like stuck in a frame. Try break that shit, that is something to change. They don't know what's under the paint. They just think you're one of the same. Don't see you as the one for the game. Don't see you as the one for the free throw. Just wanna take that shot for my people. The same people way too amped up to keep cool. Way too trapped in by these balls. Way too real to act up for these fools. Diving down to snatch like an eagle. People like the facts will defeat you. So many spotlights can't even see through. But you're right there, can't even see you. So many wrong turns now, better reroute. Do your research, then you can speak truth. If you wanna drop gems, then you need proof. So just keep with the ignorant mind. They'll show you things will be different in time. Focus, melody, rhythm and rhyme. Your hopeless energy isn't with mine, not isn't with me. That's good for my health like vitamin C. Just be thankful, living in free. Can't put your finger on me. Fuck that, plenty more fish in the sea. But too many fishermen just trying to eat. Find that catch, bring it back to the beach. Raps in my pad, got a batch to release when the sun shines. Smoking dank in the breeze. Your stereotypes are cancer to me. Be your own man when you stand on your knees. Rage in my eyes, I'm a man or a beast, like please. Just spare me the BS. I need space and peace. Take a deep breath. Watch me step from north, south to east, west. Feel like you're stuck in a frame. Try break that shit, that is something to change. They don't know what's under the paint. They just think you're one of the same. Don't see you as the one for the game, like nah. Feel like you're stuck in a frame. Try break that shit, that is something to change. They don't know what's under the paint.
Right then, guys, we are back on Cubcam TV. Sounds of Marman on that one. Track entitled Frame. Really cool, kind of quite eerie vibes going throughout that one. It's got quite a, kind of like a lot of atmospheric kind of pressure rolling through it. Really, really nicely arranged. And you said that was produced by Plymouth, wasn't it?
Yeah, Plymouth. I think he goes by Howie when he's producing hip hop. But okay, yeah, cool. Man. Good friend of mine. He just needs to produce more, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know Plymouth through Trickstar. So it's so I've primarily seen him as a drum and bass DJ. So to hear him kind of make that was quite refreshing and quite eye-opening and nice to see more than anything else. So we're back on Cubcam TV. Out to all the locked in crew this morning. Remember, if you are running a little bit late with this interview, you can check out the show via the podcast. Just literally put Breakfast with KXVU, the interviews into either Spotify, Apple Music, or SoundCloud, and you'll see the playlist pop up. There's loads of stuff in there, and there's some good content in there to get you through these unusual times. So let's kind of move on then to the kind of creation of the project. First of all, why the name?
Why the name? Must be a trick. So, I mean, I just came up with the concept after I finished most of the songs, but it's basically about how, you know, everyone's sort of out to trick you at the moment. You got people telling you one thing and then doing another thing, that sort of thing. I'm not like a conspiracy theorist or any of that bollocks, but still, man, yeah, it must be a trick. Just makes you think twice, isn't it? Okay,
yeah, no, I get that, and I think as well that thing of straight away saying I'm not a conspiracy theorist is quite interesting because it's almost become like a bit of a social weirdness to kind of have contrasting opinions now. That, and I wouldn't necessarily say people are out to trick you would be like saying you're a conspiracy theorist. I'd say it's very much a thing of that's just being aware.
Yeah. Exactly, man.
More than anything else, but yeah, it's quite interesting. So, like, how long was the project in the works then? When did it first come together?
Well, it happened sort of slowly at the start. I've just been me making loads of music, loads of unreleased stuff, and sort of just narrowing down a few songs which I sort of began to like. So probably the first song on here is probably from like 2018, but then most of them are in the last sort of couple months. Sort of honed it down, especially once I sort of got more of a concept for the album and stuff. So, yeah, man.
Wicked, man. Out to man like Oximo in the chat. How are you doing this morning? So I've seen you're becoming a bit of a regular on the breakfast shows. It's good to see you every morning, man. So like with the project then, like when you were putting the tunes together, was there when you were writing the tunes, did you want to try and weave that theme of the title of the EP into every single track, or was it more of a case of they just seemed to fit quite well sonically together?
Well, yeah, as I said, I did most of the tracks before I sort of came up with the theme, but it was actually one of the tracks outside where I say must be a trick within the lyric, and I was just like, oh, actually, I like that. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to call the album that, sort of. And that was one of the last tracks I ended up finishing for it, so I was just like, yeah. So from that point, I was sort of cemented the sort of theme of it.
Nice.
But, yeah, sort of just overlooking everything, really, and just like periodically, this being a period in life, I was like, yeah, it must be a trick.
There we go. I like that, man. I like it, and I want to kind of dive into the kind of the creation process as well. Like when you do you have like a regular studio setup? Is it do you travel to go to studio, or do you tend to record at home?
I tend to record at home mainly. Just record and produce at home. Sometimes I'll go to studios and stuff like that, but obviously at the moment I'm quite fortunate that I have everything I need in my space here, which I don't have to venture outside to do any recording of stuff. So yeah, it is all mainly home recorded. And yeah, I like it that way.
Yeah, man. I think that I like the element of that as well. That kind of makes it so it's yours. You know what I mean? The entire thing of it is yours, and it's a project that you can kind of put out there and it be your kind of finished project. It's packaged in your way. Like there's a certain. Do you think there's like a certain satisfaction you get out of that?
Oh yeah, 100%, man. That's what it's about for me. Like it takes longer, obviously, to do like the stuff yourself, like make the beats and do mixing and stuff like that. So obviously I'll need help sometimes to get mix downs and stuff like that. But yeah, it's great. Just the more I do myself, the more I'm actually proud of the product. But obviously, like collaborating is great as well.
Wicked, man. I mean, that's sick to see, and it's also kind of sick to see how nice everything looks together. It looks very cohesive. It looks very kind of well thought out and well brought together. We're going to jump into another tune next. This one going by the name of Outside. So talk to me about this one.
This one is just more of an aggressive one. It's produced by ET99. It sort of just speaks for itself, really. But it's about when we used to be able to go outside and stuff like that.
So wait, when you were putting this together then, was this a tune that was recorded during lockdown?
No, so I don't think any of these tunes were actually recorded during lockdown. All just beforehand. Okay,
cool. So how did you know that we weren't going to be able to go outside?
Well, I didn't. It's just ironic now, isn't it?
It's quite prophetic, to be honest with you, of kind of going like, I remember times we could go outside, and then suddenly no one can go outside anymore. It's quite it's quite an interesting one, and a kind of a good thing to kind of have on there. I feel it's gonna be quite like it's gonna be a tune I think a lot of people can kind of like rail into and kind of be like, oh, this is something I can relate to very much now. It's something that is very relevant at this specific moment in time. Most definitely. Right, let's get into this one then. Out to everyone in the chat right about now. We've got a nice group of people joining us this morning. If you are in the chat, please do leave a message in the live section if you've got any comments for Marman about the tunes, about the production, about the creation, about future plans. Please do leave them in the chat and we can ask them all in just a second. Also, make sure you're hitting the subscribe button and throw the like on the video. It makes a huge difference to the reach of the channel, and I know you're all very nice people who want to do me a favour, so there we go. Let's get into this one then, going by the name of Outside. Marman is on the line and we'll be back talking in just a second.
I'm an outsider, ain't saying shit cause my insides hurt. Pass me the mic, let me spit my verse. See you in a minute cause I'm outside hers. Negative energy stuck in reverse. Catching my eye like a real tight skirt. Stuck outside and my skin might burn. Been here before and I still won't learn. I'm an outsider, ain't saying shit cause my insides hurt. Pass me the mic, let me spit my verse. See you in a minute cause I'm outside hers. Negative energy stuck in reverse. Catching my eye like a real tight skirt. Stuck outside and my skin might burn. Been here before and I still won't learn. You can fall to the ground but the world still turns. Don't fuck with this man now, 6 wise words. Pray on my soul, let me lift my curse. Too many close calls, the shit I swerve. Straight to the vein, let me hit that nerve. Forbidden fruit, I bit that first. Steady on your feet, zigzag on the curb. You can see the evidence, drugs don't work, man, it must be a trick. Why you wanna say that shit? What the fuck did you think? What the fuck did you drink? Must have not known I was close to the brink. Have you washing out blood in the kitchen sink? See I got rage in my eyes, blood shots so they're blatantly high. All types of shit that's invading your mind. Feel like life just fading me by. Still just gotta maintain though. Keep on the low like feds in the plain clothes. Get my own way like do what I say so. Stuck outside so better not rain bro. Outsiders I won't let you in. Ain't gonna share with you anything. I'm a jester trying to poison a king. Take over the throne, get my boys in a ting like what? See I'm stuck outside. Ain't be getting no love outside. But I love outside. It's really tough outside. It's really cold outside. It's all on my own outside. I'm trying to zone outside. I'm trying to grow outside. I'm trying to live outside because I'm an outsider. Ain't saying shit cause my insides hurt. Pass me the mic, let me spit my verse. See you in a minute cause I'm outside hers. Negative energy stuck in reverse. Catching my eye like a real tight skirt. Stuck outside and my skin might burn. Been here before and I still won't learn. I'm an outsider. Ain't saying shit cause my insides hurt. Pass me the mic, let me spit my verse. See you in a minute cause I'm outside hers. Negative energy stuck in reverse. Catching my eye like a real tight skirt. Stuck outside and my skin might burn. Been here before before and I still won't learn. See your eyes move back and forth, you ain't like you, I don't have to talk. Don't be letting them man indoors, cause I ain't tryna fuck with a Trojan horse. Like you kicked out of school, get thrown of course. Man, it's dog eat dog, show no remorse. Don't get tricked out by no Goldilocks, make sure that you're the one that calls the shots, yeah. For real, just sitting on the steps getting drunk. Ain't felt alive in about a whole month. Spent weed money on alcohol funds, then caused some shit like knock and don't run. Just to sneak outside, just to have some fun. Got bagged a few times when the policeman come, hanging upside down to my feet. Went numb from the BN3 to the BN1. I'ma spit my shit till the beat is done, and it's stuck in your head like a beating drum. Let me make my name, let me feed my lungs. Ain't trying to hear it, your feedback's dumb. Different rules out here, stuck outside, you get schooled out here. Trying to rule out here, don't be a fool out here. Fuck around and fool out here like
there we go, we're live on Cubcam TV. That one coming from Marman, track entitled Outside. Really cool vibes, much more of a switch up than the first tune. That one's definitely more of a kind of a real kind of roller. It's a driver's tune, I feel. It's a tune you're going to have on in the whip when you're rolling around. So let's have a little look through the chat. We've had loads of people join us this morning. Out to Modernist Humour, out to Shaquille Miller, out to the Jack, out to Dulcie, out to Finn as well, out to Plimmer in the chat. Good to see you, sir. It's been a hot minute since I heard from you. Out to everyone locked in this morning. We've had some really good listeners. Out to Jake as well. I know you're listening silently in the chat somewhere. Leave a message if you are locked in. As I said before, do get some messages in. Let's keep these unsociable times as sociable as possible. I want this chat to be a bit of a place where people can enjoy themselves in the morning and kind of wake up naturally. Marman joins us on the line. I didn't forget, don't worry. We're going to be talking to him about the rest of this EP. So coming together with the final project, are you happy with how everything kind of came together?
Yeah, man, I'm chuffed with it all, especially like the artwork and the whole presentation of it. It's all good, man. But yeah, man, it's about moving on. I'm about making up the next one and just carrying on.
Sick, man. So this was a project, as far as I'm aware, you've been working with Collective Mind on this on the project, haven't you?
Yeah.
So like how was the how were they in the kind of like helping out with the project? Like was it an enjoyable thing to work on?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Like, you know, I've been friends with Finn for years now, from going to college, and like he just came up with the idea of Collective Mind Records. And once he got down to it, I was like, yeah, I'm down. And then like we've sort of just been going back and forth. He's been doing a lot behind the scenes and that. And yeah, man, just enjoying it, being a homegrown Brighton independent label.
Sick, man. I mean that's something that I do love to see. I love to see the kind of the professionalism as well. That the way it's been approached. Like even for instance for this, like obviously this is quite a it's quite like a homespun show for the channel. Obviously, it's still something that's very, very new. But the fact that we did like the email thread and stuff was going back and forth, it just felt like a very kind of professional working relationship, even to set this show up. So it's quite like it's pleasing to see. You know, what I mean, there's something very pleasing about watching sort of local projects have that air of professionalism about them.
Yeah, man, 100%.
Definitely. So let's move forward then. So we've got one more tune to play, but before that, I want to kind of hear like what's on the way for yourself. Like obviously you spoke there about kind of looking onto the next one. You're about kind of moving forward and stuff like that. So what is on the way for yourself?
Well, I've just been creating, especially in this sort of lockdown period, doing a lot more of my own production and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, there's no exact plans as in specifics, but I've just got more tunes building up. Like looking to release them, and more just like making music just because I love doing it, man. And seeing what's gonna happen in the future. Like I just want to get more of my own friends and stuff to do their more, push them to do their thing more as well.
Definitely.
Just get everyone on the right vibe.
Sick, man. So like, obviously you said you're working from home primarily in regards to like the process of making music. Do you feel then to an extent that this current obviously scenario that's going on worldwide, the sort of lockdown element of it, would you say it's actually it's not been the worst purely because you are in a position to make music from home?
I don't know, yes and no really. Like since this whole lockdown thing, I haven't had a second to chill, or at least not given myself any time to relax, because I've just been studying, making music and stuff. It is good that, like, I guess everyone's sort of being locked down and getting more creative and getting in touch with themselves more. But I was doing that anyway, but I can't really speak for everyone. But yeah, man, it can be good, but I need inspiration from outside sometimes, and be able to go out, see the world a bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it? You've kind of got, there's almost this thing now of having like all the time in the world to kind of work on stuff, but having no inspiration to draw from. It is kind of this thing of it's quite like an unusual situation to be in more than anything else. So what we're going to do to finish up is we've got one more track to run, which we're going to get into in just a second. But before that, I want to say, if you were to describe the album in one quote from the album, what would it be? What's your favourite lyric, essentially?
Let me think. If it's too good to be true, often being real is being rude. It must be a trick.
Oh, there we go. That's the bombshell to drop as we finish off the interview, man. I tell you what, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you this morning, dude. One time, what are the best social media tags for people to get you on before we get into this last tune?
Oh, I don't know, man. Must be a trick. Collective Mind Records, Marman. Brighton shit.
As in your handle.
All right, yeah. So it's Myth Music on Instagram. Just look up Collective Minds on YouTube, and yeah, Marman on Facebook. So yeah, Marman.
There we go. One thing just before we finish up, with the name Myth, was that like a previous rap name, or is it all sort of under the same brand?
Well, Myth is just like sort of me and my friends are a collective sort of name for each other. Just the name we associate with each other and stuff, just having a good time and that. So like I incorporated that into like myself and just represent that for all my friends and stuff. I know they're like listening now, innit? So yeah, big up the Myth.
There we go. That's what I like to hear. Right then, we're going to finish up by jumping into this track from Marman. This one is Space. The project's out now. Is it available via all stores?
Not yet, May 22nd.
May 22nd, okay, cool, there we go. Looking forward to getting into this one then, and we're going to finish up this interview with this one. Dude, as I said before, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll speak soon.
You too, man. Cheers.
Good stuff. Right then, guys, don't go anywhere. We're live on Cubcam TV. We're going to finish up this interview by jumping into this one. Track entitled Space by Marman off the brand new project. We're going to be getting into this, and then afterwards we're going to be jumping on the phone with Shelly Hands and Hizzle Guy, looking through Beach Gang recordings and all the stuff they've got on the way. We're going to be getting into a bit of history as well. And yeah, carrying on this sort of Brighton theme special that's going on this morning. So don't go anywhere. New listeners, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and hitting the like on the video as well. Let's get some traction going on this one. Space. Don't go anywhere.
Space, rain coming sideways, tight space, migraines, tell them that I'm fine, mate. Except I'm late and I hear my phone vibrate. Pressure build up, got me acting like a primate. React now and think later of the right way. Eyes dilate, need some space on a Friday, space on a Monday. Fuck being unpaid, waiting on a sunray. Make my own weather so I'm unfazed. Ain't gonna give way, you guys got enough space. Feeding for that certain type of freedom that I must taste. You're all up in my space, get away you little fuckface. Now I don't trust too much, I've met enough snakes. For fuck's sakes, mistakes that your loss makes and trust breaks. Makes me flip out and bust shapes. You know it gets better some days. Sacrifice my space for change to get my lunch made. I'm staring up into space. People in my face when I just need some space. Purple haze on the wave got me. Spent days walking through the maze and I'm staring up into space. People in my face when I just need some space. Purple haze on the wave got me. Spent days walking through the maze and you know I need space to love you, so I guess I can't be there in all the ways you want to. Situations we create and the pace we run through. Thank you, let me inside your brain to fuck you. I'm sick of motherfuckers breathing down my neck. I'm trying to sleep but all I hear is some screaming sound effects. And use a little bitch to smell the penis on your breath. I'll get my girls high heel boots, beat you round the head, but I don't mean no disrespect. Just step out my space and forget that we ever met. I don't see no benefits of acting like a jealous prick. The energy you're coming with is negative, repetitive. Change it or get rid of it. See how you waste most of your time, better live a bit. Know that you give what you get and you don't give a shit. So if you wanna come start something, better finish it. Regardless of how little space you were given with. I'm staring up into space. People in my face when I just need some space. Purple haze on the wave got me. Spent days walking through the maze and I'm staring up into space. People in my face when I just need some space. Purple haze on the wave got me. Spent days walking through the maze, and I'm best get to know Mars, a different breed. I'll be stealing from the rich to feed the kids in need. Miss my sleep, so I can never miss the beat, and put the motherfucking presents down on Christmas Eve. But sometimes it gets peak, and all I need is some space. Days look on my face as my CD plays, counting down the days until I get the next taste. Digging in my mind to put the writing on the page, but sometimes I feel the walls fucking closing in. I can't escape from this lake that I'm frozen in. You tell me letting go is easy, but I'll hold it in, cause you ain't never stepped inside these shoes that my toes are in. You wanna talk about demons, I got loads of them. Scratching at the ceiling, night sky sees the opening. Back in that dark place, please take me home again. Regardless of the stress, you know I still hope to win. I'm staring up into space, people in my face when I just need some space. Purple haze on the wave got me. Spent days walking through the maze, and I'm staring up into people in my face when I just need some space. Purple haze on the wave got me. Spent days walking through the maze, and
Right then, guys, massive shouts out to Marman for the last half an hour or so. Really enjoyable conversation there. Make sure you do go and check out the project when it drops. Go and follow him on all of these socials as well. Really, really cool stuff. Really enjoyable conversation, and a good way to start the day off. It's just gone 11 o'clock here on Cubcam TV, and we are moving into our second conversation of the day. Shelly Hans is on the line. How are you doing?
Hello, how are you? I'm very well, thank you.
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. I'm enjoying the show this morning, and I'm enjoying the kind of Brighton theme that's running through through the selection.
There's a lot going on down here, man.
There's a lot going on. So obviously, you joined me on Trickstar quite a while ago, which was a really enjoyable interview, quite like a like a throwback one. Obviously, we've known each other for a long time. Obviously, back all the way to kind of youth club days. You were the person working there, and obviously I was going in and learning to mix and learning to DJ and all that sort of stuff there. And obviously we covered a lot of that in the previous interview, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But I'd like to have a bit of a catch up in general. Like, how have you been?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Just been creating a lot.
In regards to like making music or like projects?
Yeah, just making music, to be honest. Just been in lockdown studio sessions.
Wicked, man. Like, I mean, when we had that interview a while ago, what was that? It was about a year ago now, wasn't it? If we've actually looked back.
Yeah, it was actually. Oh, that's gone fast.
Yeah, like quite a long way back. So, obviously, then you were kind of talking about obviously still being involved in youth projects, like getting involved in setting up kind of labels and stuff like that, and just in general being quite productive with what you were doing. Like how's the overall sort of layering of things looking for you now? Like what are you currently involved in?
So at the moment, obviously due to lockdown, I'm not working. So between me and my cousins, obviously Hazel Guy and Indigo, we have set up Beach Gang Recordings. We had Beach Gang as a collective beforehand, and we've just been in the studio making loads and loads of music, so obviously we wanted to get it out there, so that's basically what we've been working on we started doing Beach Gang stuff just over a year ago as well, so yeah, since then it's been pretty much a journey with the whole Beach Gang thing.
Wicked, man. I mean, obviously you're quite like a foundational sort of a figure, I'd say, in sort of Brighton's musical setup. Obviously you've been around for a long period of time, you've been involved in a lot of different movements and a lot of different scenes. Like with this new project, like would you say that's almost like an amalgamation of all the knowledge you've picked up over the years?
No. I would say so, definitely. I feel like it's something that we were kind of always meant to be doing. Obviously, as you know, about all the Gangoon stuff, like, yeah, it kind of felt like a bit of, obviously it was quite successful, but it kind of felt like a practice run for this, because this is basically what we're all passionate about. And obviously I was on the kind of like behind the scenes stuff with the Gangoon stuff, whereas now I actually am fulfilling the role of the artist. So yeah, it's different for me, but it's really, really enjoyable. But yeah,
sick,
it's
man.
nice to see the shift.
I mean, it's quite cool to see, obviously, from like an outside perspective, and as a realistically, as just a fan of what's going on in Brighton and someone who wants to be very much looking into what's happening in Brighton. I think the name Beach Gang Recordings, for one, like, was that always the name? Like, when you first set it up, what's the kind of rooting behind the name?
Yeah, so actually Hizzle started it. So yeah, he came up with the name, and he is also known as Sheldon as well. So basically there was just like a running theme between the shells and the beach and the waves and stuff. So yeah, I guess like a lot of people can relate to that. So we kind of wanted to embody the whole like being by the beach thing. And it's not only people in Brighton that can relate to that, it's people all over the world. So yeah, I feel like that's something that we're trying to push a lot.
It's sick, man. It's sick to see. And as you know, I'm someone who who really likes kind of looking into projects and looking into like more than anything. I love the setting up of the project side of things. So like, how long has it been actually functioning as a label at this point then?
About 2 weeks, isn't it? Yeah, literally about 2 weeks.
Sick. I believe we've got Hizzle on the line as well. I believe he's with us as well.
We do indeed.
How you doing,
man?
What's good, man? It's been a hot minute. How you doing?
Yeah, it's been a minute, bro. It's good to hear your voice, mate. And good to see you doing well. You
too, man. It's always good to see. Obviously, again, another kind of pretty foundational member of kind of Brighton's music scene. Again, we kind of we followed a sort of similar route. Obviously, I was a few years behind you, a few years younger. But like how's things in general for yourself?
Mate, things are going really well, to be honest with you. Like, as I say, I teamed up with my little brother Indigo, who's here as well, and Shelly Hands, my cousin. And, you know, I started beach going a couple of years ago, and I was just there, just like kind of doing it on my own. And I was like, well, obviously I need members, but it's got to be like a family thing. So now that I've managed to get my people involved, I'm ready to go and run all the way to the stars via the waves, bruv, at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And trying to put Brighton on again through that at the same time, because we did it with bass music, we did it with grime, we did it with dubstep, we did it with drum and bass, and now we're trying to bring the soul, trying to bring the trap, trying to bring the hip hop, trying to bring that and make Brighton a real foundational place in the music world. You know what I'm saying? Sick,
man. That's what I liked here. And again, I feel that's something you've always been very heavily involved in. Like how long would you say now you've been how long have you been performing? First of all,
I've been performing, let's say, 15 years now. My first ever live performance on decks, I was 14 years old.
That's a madness, bro. Like, I think kind of looking back over the years as well, like you have been someone, as you said, who's been involved in so many different projects. Like, how would you say Brighton, not even necessarily Brighton, but sort of rave culture to an extent has changed over the last 10 years? Like, what's the main thing that's changed?
Well, for me, rave culture has changed in the sense where it's like, the shelf life of songs is much shorter, yeah?
Yeah.
So that means the rate of production is much higher, and I'm seeing much more artists burst through at a much quicker rate. So you've got more events essentially happening, and you've got more choice of music to be into. So really and truthfully, I'm seeing positive change more than anything else.
Definitely, man. I can agree with that as well. It's often quite easy to kind of get lost in that sort of thing of, oh, it's not how it used to be. There's all these good things, and you can kind of drown in nostalgia a lot of the time. You can find yourself
Absolutely.
You can find yourself kind of looking backwards rather than looking forward. So I think that kind of approach to it of being like, there's actually more available. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It just needs to be utilized correctly. It's a very kind of good way of looking at things. So yeah, I mean, it's really kind of cool to see. Obviously, I've known the pair of you now for a very long period of time. So to kind of see you both get involved in so many projects over the years, and I think just be that sort of figurehead. I've got to say, like, when a lot of my year were younger, there was definitely a lot of inspiration coming from you guys.
No, big up, man. It's really humbling to hear. And, you know, at the end of the day, even from back in the YM, where we all started this thing back in the day, where we all came from, like, all we wanted to do was just put the ends on. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we could understand why there was so much talent down here and people weren't getting hurt. So what it is just about big up Brighton, everyone stand up tall, and let's all do our thing. Do you know what I mean? Just remember where we came from. Do you know what I'm saying?
Most definitely, bro. And I think, obviously, over the years as well, it's been quite an interesting thing to see. Like, how many people, I mean, we spoke about this, Hannah, when we were on the show last time, but if we kind of, like, look through, like, how many people actually came through that legendary YM building?
It's actually a bit mad. Like, from like our generation downwards, like basically all of them.
Yeah.
When you think about it. So like all of them passed through at some point or were touched by the magic of the YM, do you know what I mean? Like it's a bit mad, bro.
It is a bit mad. Like, we can't.
The Ocean Wisdom. It's not even a joke. Literally, from Rizzle Kicks to Ocean Wisdom.
Yeah.
We touched all of them, fam.
Like,
all of them.
I mean, even to an extent, I think I even saw Celeste in there at one point. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw Celeste in the building at one point. And obviously, she's doing huge bits now. We kind of look through the different genres. We've obviously seen Kadeko and George Quali come through there. Hoochie and Ozzy, who are doing like huge things worldwide in that more sort of EDM sort of trap scene. You've kind of got a lot of you've got people like Seaslin as well who came through that building. Obviously, Dismantle's doing huge bits now as well. Like, when you actually sit back and look at how many people came through that building. It is genuinely very mad to look at.
Yeah, it was a huge platform at the time, and it's really nice to see everyone kind of, achieving what they set out to achieve all these years later.
Definitely, man. Do you know what I think might be a good idea? It might be a good idea at one point to literally just get like a reunion scenario and get everyone who we know was in that building.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about it. Obviously, the YMCA's been knocked down now, so it would have to kind of be in a different venue, but we could definitely make it happen across the generations. You can imagine how many people would show up for that.
Definitely, man. How cool, I mean, just thinking about it, that the idea of having all those people in one place. Now, the maddest thing is, it's a festival stage.
Real talk.
Like, it's you look at the lineup and go, that would sell like 400 or 500 tickets anywhere. Like, it's mad to see, and it's sick to see. But anyway, we're looking forward. I can end up drowning in nostalgia. I'm doing exactly what I said you could do, and I don't want to do that. I want to kind of look forward. And move forward with what's going on. So let's talk about this first tune. This is the first tune to drop on the label. This one is electric. Talk to me about this one, how it came together, the theming behind it. Like, let's go.
Okay, well, so this one's led by Indigo. So I'm going to pass you over to Indigo so he can explain exactly what the tune means to us.
Good stuff.
Yo.
What's good, sir? How you doing?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. I'm loving the fact we've got so many people on the line. It's sick.
Yeah, it's a family event at all times.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, so Electric essentially is like a heartbreak tune. I came from like a singer-songwriter background, and basically his on the beat had like created something really sincere and really magical that I really related to sonically. For me, I pulled into like the archives of something that I'd written before, and then tried to kind of recontextualize it with this kind of trap soul idea. So it's kind of like using these like really simplistic melodies to then tell a story that's like really heartfelt, so that people can hear it and catch onto it and feel it in a similar way, with the sincerity that you would get from like that Drake kind of feel. So then you can just like deep the words and actually like feel the spirit of the song.
Definitely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, the sort of way I've got off that, there's enough space for you to actually be able to take stuff in without being like drowned in loads of additional elements, but it's still having that overall like feel to it.
Yeah, 100%. I think like simplicity can be really, really, really key when you're trying to like put a message across. And I think for this one, I think the power of it is in the simplicity and the directness of it.
Definitely, man. Right, we're going to jump into it now then. It's just gone 11 minutes past 11 here. It's 1111 on Cubcan TV. It's Brekky In The Cave. We're in the building till 11:30. Don't go anywhere. Beach Gang are on the line.
Okay. Indigo fam. See me, then I do the rhythm. You wanna love me, then get in the middle. You say you love me, but you're just pretending. I'll never do it again. The way you got me feeling is electric, and I'm desperate to pick up where we left it. And I'm trying to read your mind, but you've locked it. And I used to have to key, call the locksmith. And I know you say you're doing up your own shit, but I know you get the messages blue ticked. And I know I was the one up and left it, but you double bluff and hit me with the forfeit. My mind's on overtime and I've been trying to do right, but the wrong side is on a roll. I've acquired addiction to keep me off you, and either way I'm catch 22 in. Yeah, you say you love me, then you, and then you pull the rug off me. I said I love you and I never play pretend. Yeah, the way you got me feeling is electric, and I'm desperate to pick up where we left it. And I'm trying to read your mind, but you've locked it. And I used to have to key, call the locksmith. And I know you say you're doing up your own shit, but I know you get the messages blue ticked. And I know I was the one up and left it, but you double bluff and hit me with the forfeit.
The way you got me feeling is electric, and I'm fucking with you cause I know you get it. Tryna live it up, I gotta be inventive. When I get this money, you know I'm gonna invest it. Gang invested, be bested, try them tested. Beach game flexing, check the essence. Winning session, got the lesson, yeah.
The way you got me feeling is electric, and I'm desperate to pick up where we left it. And I'm trying to read your mind, but you've locked it. And I used to have to keep call the locksmith. And I know you say you're doing up your own shit, but I know you get the messages blue tick. And I know I was the one up and left it, but you double bluff and hit me with the forfeit.
Yeah, you hit me with the forfeit. I know that you want me and you tryna block it. I got patience, but baby, please don't walk it. It's a natural feeling, I ain't tryna stop it. I'm tryna see this thing go far. So when you really ready, come and meet me in the stars. Shelly has no play, no games, I'm ready when you are. We can fly together, baby, you know the world is ours.
The way you got me feeling is electric, and I'm desperate to pick up where we left it. And I'm trying to read your mind, but you've locked it. And I used to have to keep call the locksmith. And I know you say you're doing up your own shit, but I know you get the messages blue tick. And I know I was the one up and left it, but you double bluff and hit me with the forfeit.
Right then, guys, we're live on the line with Beach Gang Recordings this morning. We've got a whole crew of people in the building. We've got Shelly Hands, Hizzle Guy, and as well as that, we've got Indigo in the building. That one there going by the name of Electric. Really, really cool tune. And as we were saying beforehand, it's very much got that sort of simplicity running through it, but it's still a tune that it packs a punch and it hits home. And it just works really, really well. Like, so moving forward then into the kind of layout of what's going on with the label in general, like, how planned into the future are you?
So at the moment, we've got a ridiculous amount of music made, and we've got the next 2 releases patterned, and then after that, we're just deciding which ones to put out afterwards. But the problem with us is we've got such a high work rate. We're making music, like new music, like every day. We're already sitting on about 60 tracks. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, of course. So, like, when you're going through that process, then just to interject quickly, that process of choosing what tracks to release. Obviously, within Beach Gang, everything's quite homespun. You know, everything so far has been releases with like people that are already kind of very much in that close associate circle. Like, how are you choosing which tracks to actually put out there?
It's all based on feeling right now. Right now, like the tunes that we feel give us the emotional and electric response that we're looking for from that message that comes from that track is how we decide what's coming out.
Okay.
Yeah? So let's say if we've got a party banger and an emotional banger, which one feels more important, or which one feels more special, or which one feels more exciting, or which one feels more current at the time, and then we'll go, okay, well, this one needs to lead the way over that one because that one surely means it's got to come next.
Okay, so when you're then doing the sort of planning behind stuff, then like I suppose this would happen naturally, but like when you're then starting to make stuff, are you at any point kind of going, well, this is the vibe we're going down, so I want to make something that fits that vibe, or is it very much still making what you feel at the time and then seeing if it fits into the schedule?
It very much depends on the day. Like we work every day, 5 days a week, and then we take the weekends off and try to aim the weekends towards social media based stuff. So I say that we would spend 2 days in the 5-day week dedicated towards directional production, yeah, and 3 days a week towards feeling creative based freedom.
Okay. I mean, it's quite an interesting way of doing it, and there's quite like there's almost like a concrete, very scheduled balance between things, but that sort of scheduled balance allows for it to be very free flowing. It's quite an interesting way of doing things.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Wicked. Like so, like when you've kind of like put everything together, so far, how many artists so far have confirmed releases or like have releases on the way, essentially?
At the moment, we have 5 artists, essentially, including the 3 members on the phone with you right now, that have confirmed releases. We've got music that's coming into us that we do like, but it's more like where we've got an artist come in that wants to work with me as a producer, and they have stuff, you know, that we think is decent, but we need to make something fresh to come for the label. Or we've got producers coming and saying, yo, can you link up an artist with these beats? And the beats are fire, but we haven't managed to put together a studio session for whoever is in the group to put things down, because we've actually got about 7 artists at our disposal.
Okay, so it's what's really cool to see about this as well. The thing that's really exciting about this is there's almost like an endless possibility when it comes to the combinations that could become available.
Absolutely. We've got rappers and singers, you know, and all of us are all varied in all the different styles. Everyone can do grime, everyone can do trap, everyone can do drill, you know, everyone can slow it down and do a slow jam. I reckon every single one of us in the group could jump on the drum and bass set as well.
Yeah, I mean that's what's sick to see, and I think that kind of, as we were saying earlier, that sort of foundational upbringing within underground dance music culture, and the fact that you are also embedded in it, and embedded more than anything else in Brighton's underground sort of music culture, is what makes that such a good possibility. And that's why when I saw the label pop up, the first thing I thought was this is going to be a very cool thing. It's going to be a very creative approach to releasing stuff, which is absolutely sick to see. And it's that breath of fresh air approach, which is definitely something which I really appreciate, especially when it's a Brighton-based project. Kind of moving forward then, let's get into the next track on the selection, because I want to make sure I fit all three tracks in before we finish up the show. This one, Chun-Li, talk to me about this one. Its creation, everyone involved in it. Let's go.
Okay, so this one is one of very few tunes led by myself, so it means a lot to me. And I guess it just it's explaining the transition from going from kind of being available all the time to people to actually saying, no, I'm busy and I'm doing what I'm passionate about, and I think that everyone should definitely take the time to do the same. So yeah, that's what it means to me, and also just kind of the whole embodying the family vibes as well.
Okay, sick. Right, let's get into it then. I'm really, really looking forward to getting into this one. Just gone 20 minutes past 11 here on Cubcam TV. Out to all the locked in crew. We are live on the line with Shelly Hands, Hizzle Guy, and Indigo, representing Beach Gang Recordings. Don't go anywhere.
So we can go follow me, making hits the beach gang way. I'm the baddest like Chun-Li, it's the wave, come follow me. Shelly has been left from pain. Hold up my loyalty, love my friends and family. Shelly going back from pain. Had your back from morning, had your back from day. Beach gang is my family. We surf the waves, yeah, we keep it beachside. Get your way with me, living right by the seaside, where we keep it L-I-T, where we keep it L-I-T. Sheldon Indigo in the wings, my guys give me life, my guys give me wings. Shelly House really loves ya, say the word is not a team. My guys give me power, my team wanna win. I know it's bitch gang no, I can't talk, don't ring my phone. I ain't got the time to die. We surf the 7 seas, so we can go follow me, making hits the beach gang way. I'm the baddest like Chun-Li, it's the wave, don't follow me. Shelly has been left from pain. Hold tight my loyalty, love my friends and family. Shelly going back from pain.
Sweating it, dripping the dark. Beach gang hard as a mother. Walking on the stones in the gravel. Kicking up sauce like Ramsey with the 40 bands. Indigo, yeah, I'm a rebel. Come for a walk in the pebbles. Better not burst my bubble. Better not ask for my number. Indigo hot like summer. Beach gang turn up. Shelly Hands bad as bitch. You cannot mess with the cousin she lit. You cannot stomach the way that we drip. I do not play that cause I'm too legit. I don't play and don't play that shit. I just stay away and make hits. If you play hate then I'll dip. Beach gang Indigo in this bitch.
Don't know it's bitch gang no, I can't talk, don't ring my phone. I ain't got the time to die. We surf the 7 seas, so we can go follow me, making hits the beach gang way. I'm the baddest like Chun-Li, it's the wave, come follow me. Shelly has been left from pain. Hold tight my loyalty, love my friends and family. Shelly go back from pain.
If I miss gang all about, time to get money and stack. Whoa, we keep the peas in the pattern. Bitch gang, you know that's my pattern. ETN up on the map. Whoa, we just be flowing from pack. Whoa, just got the mission is mad. Build up a backwards of that. Shut up, I'm leaving them bands. 100 bands done with the gang. Where's the little part of the plan? Indigo shut up and actually hammer. You can all run with the gang. Like you don't know who I am. 007, it bam. Soon I'll be with the facts.
Don't know it's much, can know. I don't talk, don't ring my phone. I ain't got the time to play. We step to
Right then, we're back on the line. It's Cubcam TV. It's Brekky In The Cave, and we are joined by Hizzle Guy, Shelly Hands, and Indigo this morning, representing Beach Gang Recordings. We're moving into the sort of final section of the show. We're going to look through like the future plans, what's going on, and round everything up. So first of all, guys, it's been really, really good to talk and good to catch up as well so far.
Likewise.
It's always a pleasure to kind of talk to kind of catch up, especially the beautiful thing that is the internet. We were saying off air there really are kind of like ups and downs to this current scenario. Like we've kind of we were kind of agreeing along the lines of like it has kind of opened up opportunities and opened up a bit of spare time to kind of pursue additional kind of avenues and actually kind of utilize that time to actually use it for creativity. Like how would you say the general scenario is for you now? Like would you say you've actually found yourself making more music?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, we were actually quite blessed with the fact that we've got a setup at home. So, yeah, like Hizzle was saying, we're literally in the studio every single day. Some days we'll make one tune, some days we'll make two. But, yeah, on the Super Saiyan days, we will come out with 3 absolute bangers.
So you can make an EP in a day.
Yeah, literally. So, yeah, the work rate is really high right now. So, yeah, I feel like lockdown has definitely pushed us in the direction of making more music. I mean, we were making loads before anyway, but yeah, it's kind of probably, I'd say it's doubled since.
Sick, man. Well, that's good to hear. And I think it also bodes well for the future because it means post-lockdown, when things sort of return to whatever normality will be after all this is over, it does mean that you'll have a lot of stuff available to kind of like push forward with, and it means you can kind of set out a schedule and start to do the other bits. It means you can kind of focus in on like music videos and kind of like getting live shows booked in and all that sort of stuff there. It means you'll have that extra time then to do that, which is going to be really cool to see. So let's look to the future then. What's on the way? What's the plans? Like, what can we expect over the next sort of 6 months?
Over the next 6 months, you can expect us putting out a multitude of singles and EPs just to get everybody warmed and ready for us. We're trying to essentially just get the whole of the city behind us and then aim to push outwards. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
We've got a music video booked in for Electric that we need to shoot, but with current situation with lockdown, we can't get that done. So we're waiting for lockdown to be done so we can get the Electric music video done. That's going to be on the way. You know, and as I say, we've got Chun-Li dropping next. After that, we've got No Cap in My Rap, yeah? And then we've got a couple of other releases. And then maybe towards the end of the year, to release for the new year, we'll start talking about, you know, the debut Beach Gang album.
Yeah.
/ mix.
I mean, that's it's quite an interesting thing. So what I really like about it is the fact that the name of the label is also the name of the collective. So there's so many kind of like link ups and kind of like collaborative things you can do, and it still be under that title of Beach Gang, like Beach Gang being the name, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. We're all about pushing the beach. That's what it's all about. So the team and the label, the business and the artist, the whole thing, the full circle, 360 has to be Beach Gang, 100%, 365, 24/7. It's all Beach Gang. It's all Beach Gang all day, every day. That's it. You see what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, man. It's sick to see. It's exciting for me as well. Like I'm sitting here thinking about how much I'm looking forward almost to like the sort of post summer lull when we're sort of going back to when we're approaching a more sort of normal routine, and we're going to start seeing a lot more stuff dropping. We'll see the videos drop in as well. It's going to be a really good thing, and I think obviously with this more sort of wave kind of rap sort of approach to things being very much the in sound right now, I think it's going to be really exciting to see Brighton be put on the map again, if you know what I mean.
Most definitely. There is an abundance of talent down here, and all we're trying to do is just shine the torch on all of them. All of us, all at the same time. Let's let everybody know BTN is here. I'm not going anywhere. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I like to hear, man. And again, as I said before, it's exciting, and it's what we're here to do. You know, we are here to kind of push Brighton, and that's always been the case with any radio platform I've been on, any sort of label scenario that I'm kind of running as well. It's always been that thing of Brighton first and foremost, because it's a place that's given us a lot. You know what I mean? And I think, as we said at the beginning, remembering where you come from and representing where you come from is a very important thing.
Absolutely, bro.
Definitely.
That's what I like to hear. So, one time before we wrap up the show and finish everything off, we're going to finish up with "No Cap in My Rap," which is going to be the last tune of the show. It's how we're going to sign out. One time, what is the best social media tags for people to get you guys on?
So Beach Gang BTN for the Beach Gang Instagram. You've got Shelly.Hands. You've got Sheldon Official, IndigoBot 9000, and then Dutty_Hizzleguy, and that's all on Instagram. And then you've got, Twitter, and we're coming with the YouTube and stuff. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled.
That's what I like to hear. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on this morning. Best of luck, stay safe and everything along those lines. And I'm looking forward to talking soon.
Thank you so much, man. Big up yourself.
Anytime, man. Anytime. That's what we like to do. It's Brighton all day, and that's something we're going to stand by all the way through. We're going to finish up with this one. No Cap in My Rap. Sheldon alongside Beach Gang Recordings. Don't go anywhere, guys. It's been Cubcam TV. Tomorrow, I'm going to be joined by King's Hi-Fi alongside Duke Sky. We're going to be talking on the phone about their new release and, of course, running through Fresh Fridays, looking through all the new releases, giving our feedback on them and marking them out of 5, awarding our Freshest Fry award, and wishing you a good weekend. So there we go. Join us in the morning. That's 10 till 11:30. I'll see you then. Cubcam TV. Don't go anywhere. Oh, yes.
For my rapping, I tell you when talking if you're gonna chat to me cause you don't waste. If you're American, cross as a session, then let me translate it to nigga don't care. Keeping it PG, there's also too flicky, the juice and the money to put in the bank. None of the money big bang, yeah. None of the money big bang, yeah. No ass in my chat, no ass in my chat, no ass in my chat. No cap in my rapping, no ass in my chat. No ass in my chat, no ass in my chat. No cap, Julie. Back in the day, man, we kids in the hood, now man, them orders. Man could never give Beach Gang orders, man, I'm soldiers. See, man, straight generals, dog. Big moves when we get in the car. Get money, we get it in fast. Label my piece when she get dog. Label my piece when she get dog. Big man, I don't play in the park. One thing that they won't get spoiled, cause I come from the seaside pass. Get a thing and I get it in fast. Fly around with dogs and malls, like alien dogs and cars. Never mind rapping, I'll tell you when talking if you're gonna chat to me cause you don't waste. If you're American, cross as a session, then let me translate it to nigga don't care. Keeping it PG, there's also too flicky, the juice and the money to put in the bank. None of the money big bang, yeah. None of the money big bang, yeah. No ass in my chat, no ass in my chat, no ass in my chat. No cap in my rapping, no ass in my chat, no ass in my chat.
Let's hope you're trying some money to dog. Indigo, don't give a fuck. I was polite, but it's boring as fuck. If you got beef, then I'm making a burger. Want me, you're waiting your time. Give me the money, I'll burn it. Be rich before I turn 30. Girls call me party, and you get nervous. They shoot, they missing. Play my position. I'm cruising all on my mission. I'm too legit to play victim. I'm too legit to play that. MC Hammer can't touch that. And there's indigo in the trap. See, there's never less in my chat.
Never mind rapping, I'll tell you when talking if you're gonna chat to me cause you don't waste. If you're American, cross as a session, then let me translate it to nigga don't care. Keeping it PG, there's also too flicky, the juice and the money to put in the bank. None of the money big bang, yeah. None of the money big bang, yeah. No ass in my chat, no ass in my chat, no ass in my chat. No cap in my rapping, no ass in my chat, no ass in my chat, no ass in my chat. No cap in my rap.
Chatty hands, Beach Gang, I don't rhyme. Fold it back when I wake up in the morning. I'm the queen, no cap. Swear down, you've already had a warning. Listen to the signs and listen to the spirits. Listen to your mind and truly test your limits. You'll be fine now, trust the spirit. Just take your time now, patience keeps you in it.
Never mind rapping, I'll tell you when talking if you're gonna chat to me cause you don't waste. If you're American, cross as a session, then let me translate it to nigga don't care. Keeping it PG, there's also too flicky, the juice and the money to put in the bank. None of the money big bang, yeah. None of the money big bang, yeah. No ass in my chat, no ass in my chat, no ass in my chat. No cap in my rapping, no ass in my chat, no ass in my chat, no ass in my chat. No cap in my rap. No ass in my chat, no ass in my chat, no ass in my chat. No cap in my rap, no No, I see my job. No, I see my job.